Today, let's talk about the Gquuuux Zaku. I haven't seen the Gquuuux yet, but being a fan of the Zaku, I'd figured I would get one. And aside from all the Gquuuux mobile suits looking like they're down with the syndrome, which would be completely competent and normal, I actually find their designs kind of practical. For example, check out these integrated fuel tanks. Old school designs look like tanks, boxy and heavy, which is cool. Then we put some legs and arms on it, and boom, you have a Zaku. But the gag design is more like someone took a lunar lander and strapped arms and legs on it, which makes sense because mobile suits are meant to operate in space.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Even though the feet on the Gquuuux Zaku look like shoes, it does a good job of breaking the mold of what a mobile suit looks like. But let's compare it to the Zaku Revive, a kit that is the most accurate to the 1979 anime. We swapped out the thickness of the thighs and the shins, and the new design is more organic. The boosters being on the back of the thigh makes sense because it shifts the center of thrust more to the center of mass. And if you know anything about rocket science, then you know that center of thrust versus center of mass counts for something. Not that anything about 18-meter tall robots are practical, but it's not called real robot genre for nothing. But now, why do we need not one pair of power pipes, but two going from the back to the front? It makes sense on the 1979 Zaku, because they go from the reactor to the backpack, but on the Gquuuux version, they're going nowhere.
You're going nowhere.
The 1979 Zaku can do a standing pose better because them big feets.
Oh hell yeah.
The Gquuuux version, this pose is a lot more difficult.
Oh hell nah.
Details on the Gquuuux Zaku are absolutely fantastic. I actually prefer this new sandwich hand, which is more secure when you put it together. Definitely more than the traditional ones that fall off quicker than a politician's integrity.
Listen here, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Ham and Karn.
Articulation-wise, they are both about equal, but the Revive Zaku that I have had for a year feels a bit loose. Only time will tell with the Gquuuux version.
You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Although I can say the Revive kit is a lot more fun to play around with. And that's my problem. I love to repetitively play around with my kits, almost to the point I make them diorama pieces or battle-scarred units, but that becomes a part of the storytelling. That's unless it's one of my $40 plus kits, in which we paint up nicely and leave it alone, like it has a restraining order against us. Let's talk about the weapons. The Heat Hawks aren't that different, but for the most part, I'm digging the Gquuuux design better with its shorter and bulky design. Except if you want it accurate, then this rifle mount underneath needs to be carved out, otherwise you have a weird triangle underneath. And unless you're a pro, this might look like scrap. The other accessory that comes with this kit is this secondary shield, but it's held on by the weakest hardpoint attachment I have seen on a Zaku kit. Nice details, but mid-is. Fug. The Heat Hawk that comes with this kit doesn't get an attachment point to the kit, but we get this lame stun baton that does. I also need to say I'm not a fan of these stickers. They're somehow worse than normal ones, and that's saying something. Overall, I have to say, while the Gquuuux kit is unique and interesting, I prefer my skirts made of metal. In my eye, a little bigger.
Ooh.
The Revive is still my preferred kit, but it's nice to try different flavors every now and then. If I had to rate these kits, Revive gets 4 stars, and the Gquuuux gets 3 stars. And Tim Curry is the reason for one of those stars.
Space!